Little Giant.
I'm live and I was like, I know the name, but I don't want to say Giant Little. We're here at Little Giant. It's John and Rachel, Yajagoff podcast, and we are on site. So you're going to see some of the behind the scenes with our very cool, it's an intimate podcast today because we're in the studio right here in Allentown. I will not sing the Billy Joel song, I promise you. But we're excited because our friend who you know, Matt Cause, from his band by the name, Tracy and he have been working for months on when we can get into the studio and check it out and learn more about it. So we're going to start as usual with a little song acoustically, and then we're going to go into our guest. You're used to it. So as John always says, grab your lunch, grab your snack, grab your water, your coffee, whatever you're doing this Saturday morning, check it out. And then, as you know, it will drop on Monday, wherever you get your podcast. We will send it out on Tuesday, and we're really excited to chat with our guest today. So are you guys ready?
I think so.
All right. So we will find out much about them. Don't go away after they do their song because they're going to talk a little bit more and we're going to find out where we can find them and get their music. All right, guys, take it from here.
Got it. This song's called Torture. I wrote it for my wife. I'm blown away by the way you make me feel. I won't hesitate. I wanna love you. I wanna feel you. Don't torture me. I love the way feeling you move. I must say, I wanna take you. I wanna squeeze you, but don't torture me. If you can see what I see in your eyes, I can't believe you want me tonight. I promise that I will treat you right. You burn my soul. I can't turn away. You make me thirst. I wanna drink you. I wanna taste you. Don't torture me. So drink up your wine and peel off that dress and lie down with me. I wanna kiss you. I wanna love you. Don't torture me. Don't torture me.
Woo! How about that? All right, guys, so you can kind of get a little bit comfortable. We're going to go through at the beginning of our rigmarole that they'll hear in the beginning of the podcast, and then we're going to come right back and talk to Brandon and Matt. So, again, it is the Yajaga podcast. We don't have Tracy and Monica. You will learn that very, very quickly because we fumble without them. We didn't realize how lucky we are. We always realize how lucky we are. But when we are down to it and it is just John and Rachel, it's scary stuff. So we appreciate them more and more when we realize that they are not here. You good?
I'm good.
You're kind of acting as both,
I'm
right?
good,
You're changing
that's right.
hats.
I was Tracy,
You wanna
I
start?
was Monica, and now I'm Jonica.
Oh, boy.
All right. So this is how we started. Did you know, let's start with this one. Get the best experience of customer service and maintenance of your Rourke Advantage at the Service Center on West Liberty Avenue.
Visit RourkeHonda.com for all of your vehicle needs and check out our blog posts, which are reflective of John Chamberlain's road rage, as well as the need to utilize the Rourke Advantage. And now we start the Yajagoff podcast from, I know the place,
Allentown. Right. That little giant recording studio. So this is where you'll hear Yajagoff. And this is John and Rachel Yajagoff. And if you're listening to the podcast for the very first time, we would appreciate that you subscribe to it. Tell your friends. It's all about Pittsburgh. And then if you have an interesting guest we should have on or an interesting location, you should tell us.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. But we are changing things up. We cannot wait because look for some interesting news coming in later September. Dun, dun, dun. We're pretty excited
Right.
for
We
that.
like working late at night. That's just the clue, right?
There's your clue.
All right. So as far as what was on the blog this week, we did a few. First, there were actually
They were all
two
you
parking
again. I feel
things this
bad.
week. Giant Eagle in Kennedy Township had a car, an SUV that pulled halfway into the parking lot, like halfway. And like you
Notice
don't
what keeps
see,
him up at night. This is why he likes
You
late
don't
nights.
see that your car is completely out of line with everybody else. Your back doors are out in the lane.
I know.
So I don't know who walks away from that.
You're the best
and
driver
then,
and
And then
parker.
we had someone, Susan, I forget her last name,
yeah.
sent us a picture of someone who was perfectly parallel parked.
Yep.
Across 3 handicap spots.
Worst I've ever seen.
Worst.
Could not
I
believe
mean,
it.
It was
picture
really
was
lined
ideal,
up with
yeah.
the curb, but across 4 handicap
Just
spots.
don't do it. Don't be a jag. We are term of endearment jagoffs. How have you been, you jagoff, if we're seeing you at Giant Eagle or wherever? But once in a while, we cannot help it but say the term jagoff can be a little negative, and this is how we do it.
We did do a really good interview with David Bednar from the Pittsburgh Pirates along the third base line at PNC Park.
That was fun.
And we said, what would it mean if someone called you a jagoff? And he said, I'd own it.
Yeah,
I'd own it,
he
right?
did.
Yeah.
He also, the part we didn't get on the video, if you checked it out this week, when he was walking away, he and John are both from McKees Rocks, and John said, hey, thanks again for doing this. And he said, hopefully I'll see you at Doughboys.
He said, let's get us a Doughboy pizza.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. So I love whenever, Pittsburghers embrace the communities in which they reside.
And we continued on with our 811 call before you dig thing.
Yeah, People's Gas has partnered with us. It's been a really good time, and we're teaming up with iconic Pittsburgh locations to remind you to call 811 before you dig anything, whether, like you said, it's a garden, it's a project, a pool. We're getting to the end of summer, so I'm assuming pools are on sale, so people are starting to get that kind of taken care of. It is vital that you call 811 before you dig.
Yeah.
So that's super
This
important.
week it was
but
Millie's.
It was
Before you
Millie's.
dig into Millie's, we've done before you dig into a Permane sandwich, before you dig into an Isley's chipped ham sandwich, and now before you dig into Millie's.
Mancini's.
Mancini's.
Yes, pretty cool. So last one was John's annoyance with, we love newscasters. We especially love KDKA. But they all do it. They say billion with a B. Like
Right.
when referencing
The lottery. It's like,
Pennsylvania
I didn't even
lottery.
mistake that you said million with a B.
and buh.
M and
Right.
B are completely different. You don't have to go, and it's 123 billion, billion with a B. I know you said billion. It didn't even sound like million.
Yeah, but
It's
listen.
as crazy as putting your ruler in the snow on the first snow of the year. It's just so.
My kids get so annoyed because if I say my last name is Rennebeck, I say RENNE, B as in boy, ECK. And they go, oh my God, it drives me crazy
Yeah.
when you do that.
B
and
as in
that's
billion.
That's what it reminds me of every time you say it.
All
So
right. So here we are at our podcast, right?
here we are. And so cool because we say this all the time. Pittsburghers are notorious for this. We'll say the same thing when James Santilli comes on, but we're procrastinators. Like, oh, we live in Pittsburgh, so we don't have to go to the Warhol today because we can go anytime. And then a month goes by and 2 months go by, and here you are living in Pittsburgh and not having seen it. Sort of the same thing with Allentown. John and I were in Allentown a lot for a couple different reasons for a while, right? We utilized a marketing company actually for some of our artwork for a while. And then we were here with Scott from
McTaggart.
McTaggart. I couldn't think of his name, with Epicast.
And then we were here with
that what it
Black
was?
Forge Coffee.
Black Forge Coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now
So-
we're here with you. So Brandon, welcome.
Thank you.
Pick up your mic. You're good.
There you go.
So
Thank you.
typical Pittsburgh, 6 degrees of separation. We knew Brandon. Well, we don't know him. We just met him today. But we found out about Brandon because of Matt. Matt, are you coming back on? Come on. Matt caused
Let's go, Matt.
who is out. You know, Matt has been on the podcast plenty of times as our musician. And he had mentioned, I want to say at our last porch tour, that he knew you and that, you know, we needed to come into this recording studio. We had no idea what to expect. So for people who are typical Pittsburghers and Yinzers, what is it near? Where do they get? Because we were behind the building, right?
Yeah,
So explain where it is and how long you've been here and all that good stuff.
Well, it's funny because I'll tell people that I'm in Allentown. They're like Eastern Pennsylvania,
Right.
Allentown. I'm like,
Yeah.
nope,
So people
nope,
still
nope.
do that because I do that
Yeah.
too. Okay.
People who are from Pittsburgh, like born and raised. And when you say Allentown, a lot of people don't know. But there's a lot of awesome things happening up here, and so yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with, you know, the hilltop area, which is you know, Mount Oliver, Allentown, Carrick, you know, those sort of like surrounding neighborhoods, you might be familiar with. You know, former restaurant Onion Maiden. You might be familiar with Black Forest Coffee, which is now called Grim Wizard Coffee.
A la Familia.
A la Familia.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
Classic,
Yeah. Okay.
Italian restaurant. And, you know, they opened last year, Bottle Rocket Social Hall, which is just in the building behind us. So if you're familiar with any of those businesses, that's
Yeah.
Right there.
we're
John
here.
O'Prasco has a art studio down the street here too.
Yeah, Jono's art studio on the corner of
right.
Yeah, he
18th
like,
and
he
Arlington.
dredges dirt from the Mon and then incorporates it into his painting.
Oh,
That-
wow.
I used
That
to
is
live
so
next
cool.
to him. He's an awesome.
He is an
artist.
awesome guy. Yeah, that's so cool. So why this area? Was it a serendipitous thing? Like, you obviously are a musician. You've been
Yeah.
looking. So talk us through, like, how did this actually come to fruition?
Well, there's a couple obvious reasons why Allentown is great. One, and you know, when I have local artists or touring. Good. Yeah. Yeah. When you or do you wanna?
No,
ask
you're
again?
good.
Trying to get Rachel's attention.
I got you. Yeah, I was making sure because I saw the message.
Good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So when you know, logistically, the proximity of Allentown to a lot of music venues made a lot of sense too, and like, you know, the ease of getting to, you know, the Roxy and Theater, to venues in Lawrenceville, to venues downtown, to venues in the South Side. It takes, I mean, at most 15 minutes to get there from anywhere, and in more cases, it's less than 2 miles. So there's certainly that part of it, that I wanted to have a central location that was easy for folks to get to where they're playing if they're preparing for the stage, or if they're, you know, stopping here on a tour. Also, I used to live here. I lived in 2 different places in Carrick and Mount Oliver. So I also have a, you know, fondness.
That's so
for this
Pittsburgh, isn't
neighborhood.
it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
Like, this
it
is the
here.
community where I lived, so it's important to kind of rebuild it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say is really important, is that we're seeing all of these micro communities really rebuilding. You know, I use Bakery Square as the example constantly. I grew up in the North Side. I love seeing how the North Side has really, you know, grown and called people, like artists in particular, to be there and kind of make it even better, enhance it. But Bakery Square, who would have thought that East Liberty would become what it is?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's pretty unbelievable. When I first, so I'm not from Pittsburgh. I moved here in 2002, but I would visit, you know,
It's close. 21 years. We'll give you.
I visit, I might as well. I feel like I'm from here anyways. But I remember when I moved here, Reisenstein Middle School was still there in East Liberty. I guess it was called East Liberty. I guess it was, yeah. And just like how it looks now is unrecognizable.
Reisenstein School is where I went to OVT. Do you know what OVT is? Occupational Vocational Tech, because I was a Catholic schooler,
Votech,
and that's where
yeah,
we
yeah.
learned our Votech. I have great Votech skills because of it. I don't I don't even know how to say that, but
So, Brandon, this space is, I like how you said that, you know, bands coming into town need a place to rehearse. They need to kind of
Right.
chill out. Then they also could come in here and record and things like that. So what, they just go online, or if Rachel and I decide we want to put a Christmas album out, we just go on your website and record that.
But you'll tell us
and
don't.
make a schedule, right?
Yeah.
There's no judgment zone here as
Yeah,
if we
it's like
suck.
Planet Fitness. It's exactly the same thing. We'll have a donut day and a pizza day.
yeah,
once a week,
right.
and- Yeah,
And a
it's,
Jag day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I also wanted to set this place up to be as basically my overarching goal is to take as much friction out of the music creation process as possible.
Yeah.
Because that is the thing that can stop momentum before it even starts.
Mm.
So I wanted to automate this place as much as possible.
Okay.
So if you have a need where you need a rehearsal space, you need a place to come in and shoot some promotional videos, you need to record a podcast, you can just go straight to the website. You can book your time. You can come in. I send you codes to come in. If you need an engineer on site, we can provide that. If you need videographers on site, we can provide those. If you need extra hands, we can give that. But on its own, it's set up to be a self-served.
That's pretty
facility.
cool.
Yeah.
Matt,
That's
from
pretty
a
cool.
musician standpoint, you kind of guided us here. What's your side of it? Is it all like this is super easy to use and things like? Now, first of all, thank God you showed up, because then I knew where to park. I followed you around the block as far as where to
So you're
park
the
here,
parking
but
guy and
but in the mean, so from a musician standpoint, is this what you're kind of? This is something you've been waiting for?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, rehearsal space is at a premium. It's tough to find places you can make noise. And then also as you guys know, our band, we're part-time musicians and we have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So it's hard to schedule. So with Brandon's model, it's really nice. You can just look at an open schedule and see what slots are open, and then coordinate with your guys and be like, okay, it's gonna be a late practice. We're gonna go in at 9 p.m. at night on a Tuesday, and if it's open, then you just reserve
Slide
it.
in, yeah.
And then you're
Is
fine.
there the opportunity too to kind of connect with Brandon and say like, hey, I know this says pending or whatever. Or could I come on this day? Is there that kind of meshing as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'll certainly communicate with bands, and if someone is in dire need of space, and there are like multiple rooms in here, so if somebody needs to kind of get in and maybe there's time already booked, I'll do my best to kind of fit people in where I can. But also having one facility does sort of limit you.
Yeah.
And I've been happy that things have been busy here, and I'm looking for other spaces now. So once I have multiple places, then that sort of takes care of any scheduling conflicts and stuff.
What would constitute dire need? Is there really like a music dire need? Like seriously, I'm not being funny, but
Yeah.
like there's things where you go, oh crap, like I need Kinko's and it's 3:00 and they close at 5. What is a music dire need?
Here's maybe the best example that I
Okay.
can give. So, we talked about the typical rehearsal model for bands are often relying on storage facilities that have these powered rooms that they can pay monthly for. And there's one right down the street, still in Allentown, that suffered an electrical fire. And they closed the building, and then the building decided they were no longer going to provide rehearsal facility for these bands. There were 40 bands in this facility that lost their place, and all their gear was in there too. So they were just driving around with cars full of gear. And or had to go to another storage facility to store it or anything, and they would also use those for rehearsal. So I got about 1 million phone calls from people like, we have a show this because it's festival season, it's in the summer, like we have shows this weekend and we had 2 rehearsals booked and we have no place to do it, can you help?
There you
And
go.
so that's certainly an extreme example, but there are times where if you're using your basement to rehearse, but your wife has clients coming in or have client phone calls, that the two things can't coexist at home.
Yeah.
And maybe the day of you need to call. So I have things
That's a
set up
good
on that.
point. Yeah,
Now,
they're
Matt,
great examples.
Matt, today on the song, you had him jump in and say, okay, can you do that here as well? Like, can you use the place here to say, well, I need a bass player, I need a drummer, or a horn section or something like that? Is that helpful here as well because of the pool of people that
Like
come
an a
here?
la carte, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Brandon's obviously a really talented musician, so we got connected with some other projects. Is how I got connected with him in the first place. But he proved to be a really integrated community connector in the music community here.
Yeah.
And so and he's kind of like one of our hubs now. And the first iteration of Little Giant was like that. It was a version of what he just described in a storage facility. And then you see this space, like this is living, like this is.
Yeah,
feels like
Matt,
a
I have
real-
a question
like I
for you
feel like a
because
pro
we did
musician.
connect with him.
Yeah.
We know this history. Did you ever rent a storage facility to be your practice facility? Did Matt Cause band ever do that?
No.
No. Okay. Because we found out that we co-located in the same
6
stores.
degrees, yeah.
Not that our band never connected there because we didn't have a band, but yeah, we did not know that lifestyle of bands recording or at least rehearsing, renting a storage facility. So Brandon, is that pretty common?
Yes.
Okay.
It's crazy.
At
Is
least
it because of
Is
the
it like-
cost? Is it the
Yeah.
audio or what is it?
Well, so this is the case in other cities, and we sort of refer to these as lockouts. So you pay rent for a space to keep your stuff. You can use it to set up, keep it set up at all times. You can treat
Yeah, it
that
makes
thing
sense.
as your recording studio or your rehearsal studio. And there are other cities that have many different options of that, including those spaces. And in Pittsburgh, it's kind of the primary. If you're not rehearsing at home, you're probably rehearsing in one of these storage
Get out of
facilities.
town.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
it's
who would've
it's
known
sort of a
that?
clever use of the space.
is
No
clever.
question. Yeah.
So many people are keeping their stuff in these buildings and typically aren't there.
Right.
Yeah.
So the noise isn't really bothering them.
Right.
Sure.
So there are challenges to that model, like anything, but that is the primary use of.
I want to start a band called the Storage Unit.
That's a good name.
Matt,
Yeah,
please don't
I wanna-
encourage him. Matt, what is your band up to? We've gotten all the behind the scenes and the cool part of this place and why people should utilize it. But what's going on with your band? So we haven't caught up with you in a while.
Well, we just had our 4th release, our summer songs called Madeline, which I will play with for you today.
Yay.
And we're going to be in the studio recording 2 new tracks. And when I say new, we play them out. We have like 12 to 15 songs we play out live, but they're polished now.
Okay.
And they're ready to be recorded. So we're doing the recording at Red Cayman Studios on
Okay.
Babcock Boulevard.
Oh, yeah.
And Jacob Zhang is our producer. I think he's 20 or 21, little wizard. He's also a wizard guitar player. He's way better than everybody's better than me.
Please.
I just grind. But
Yeah,
anyways,
you do.
we have a good thing going on. We really like, all of our music's on Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon Music, and we have some big plans for 24 as well.
Okay.
That's cool.
Performing a lot the rest of the summer.
Yeah, so we're off until August 26th. So if you want to catch the whole band, you can catch us at Bakery Square on Saturday, August 26th.
Look at me talking about East Liberty.
Yeah. No, I mean Bakery Square is a lot of fun, and that
She doesn't even know
that's-
that it's East, though.
If you have toddlers and you like toddler dance parties,
Toddler
you should come-
dance?
you should
Matt,
come
you
to a
had
cause
me
show.
until there. I'm way out of that state.
Toddlers dance.
Yeah,
Toddler's
Take
dance party.
Valentina.
Oh, my
Okay.
God, yeah.
Bakery Square. When my band plays at Bakery Square on 6:00 on a Saturday night, it is lit with toddlers, and I mean
No,
That
I'm,
is
I'm going to have
I'm
a date
talking
night with
I'm
Valentina.
talking
yeah.
30 or 40 toddlers
I love
jamming their
this.
faces off. And then it gives the parents a break because, they can drink and there's all that good stuff there at the gallery. And then
They
there's
get
taco
hammed
right
while
there.
the kids dance to you.
Yeah.
I mean,
people
what a-
dance
And it's
too. Like
getting to
grown-ups
them-
dance too.
It's
but,
getting to them early. I mean, they'll be Matt Cause fans
Yeah.
for, when they're in their 13s. They'll be
model.
like,
That's-
you listen to Matt Cause? Oh, he's old. No, but I've been listening to him since I was a kid.
That's our
You know,
model.
because
Yeah.
10,
That's
20 years from
funny.
now.
Yeah, that's our
That's
model.
so funny.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Temptations. It's the same
Uh,
deal.
Yeah.
Love
Oh,
So that's
my
August
God.
26th. And then
Okay.
if you want to catch me solo, I'm going to be at a Pericena on August 10th. It's Thursday, August 10th at 7. And then I play a monthly show at the Harp and Fiddle.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
The third Friday of every month. Although
Okay.
this month I'm not because I will be on vacation with my family.
There you go.
Nice.
Now, your song "Torture" that
Yeah,
you
about
you
my wife.
performed
you
that, yeah.
performed that for. Did you perform that at the really hot
No, it was the
yard,
Carnegie
or was that
Science
at the
Center.
Carnegie Science Center? I just remember because it sounds.
It was Valentine's Day.
You talked about being more
oh,
polished.
I thought I
It's-
didn't play it. I'm sorry.
No. I think it sounded different. Which, when you say things are polished, it's like you've been working on it or something like that. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it sounded good when we first heard it, but just
I
the
thought
way
it was
you
cool
sang
that
it
I
today.
remembered it.
Yeah.
You know,
So you'll find songs change the more you play them out.
Yeah.
And I always thought when you hear a recording of a song, it's like the best version of that song. But what
Okay.
you're really hearing is just a snapshot of that song at that time. And
Okay,
it's
yeah.
gonna change. It changed before it got to that point. It's going to change afterwards.
Okay.
But I play that song a lot because, it's for my wife.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right. Well, so are you just excited that we're actually in a comfortable,
Non-heated.
non-public tripping?
We were so hot.
Like, you've
yeah.
been to the Porch podcast where it was so excruciatingly
That
hot.
was Ray Petlin's fault.
Yeah,
though.
Ray Petlin's fault.
Yeah.
And then we took you to the Science Center, which was not somewhat cozy, but kids walking all over the place.
They were
And
wiping
I brought my
boogers on
daughter
the
to that.
set.
that one.
yeah. So we're at least in a comfortable setting, and let alone, how about this, comfortable for musicians because of what he has done here. How about that?
Look at you.
Bring it all back home full
that was
circle.
nice.
Matt, where can everybody find you and follow you in case they don't know?
You can go on our website, Music of Cause, K-O-Z, musicofcause.com, and on all anywhere you buy or download music, you can just search Cause, and
Love it.
we're out there.
Cool. Brandon, where can everybody find and follow and get more information about this amazing place right here in Allentown?
Sure. Our website is www.littlegiant.io. You can see pictures of the place. You can book time. You can learn more about public events that we have here. And then I post more day-to-day stuff on our Instagram, which is @GoLittleGiant.
So you guys gearing up for a little Beatles thing?
We did some. So I'm also a musician and singer in town, and I have many projects. One of which is a Beatles band. We played at Bought a Rocket last month, which is great because it's right behind my office, right in front of my office, and I also have a yacht rock band that we play all kinds of
Yacht
gigs
rock.
and stuff,
love that.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Kenny
God.
Loggins and Steely
Okay.
Dan and Toto and all that
Okay.
stuff,
Nice.
so yeah, we get to. I also have my rehearsals here. That was another reason why I opened.
Yeah.
the place, so I can have my own.
Right.
That's great.
Right.
Yacht Rocket's like the hottest ticket in town.
Yes.
It's like they broke the site last
Yeah.
time they did their gig.
That's
Is that right?
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Nice.
that's great to hear. Listen, we can't let you go without a question of the day. John, great question, by the way. Whoever wants to go first. Would you rather be a one-hit wonder and cash out or be a long-timer? Matt.
Oh, I'll
He
take
just-
the cash,
he
please.
just took- really? You
One
wanna-
timer.
you-
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. One.
Really?
Did you know daycare is so expensive? It
I
doesn't
love
even
his
have to be a
reasoning.
hit.
Is
Doesn't
even
even have to be
better
a lot.
than
Just
his
be
answer.
some cash.
That is so
Some
true.
cash.
When I hear that, I think of the Wiggles. You guys are too young, but like my oldest is 20, and he was a Wiggles fanatic, and they were from Australia. Do you really? Oh my God, I'm so old. The Wiggles, but anyway, they were not a one-hit wonder. They ended up doing really
They
well.
took
so
like
there
the
you go.
Elvis Costello model, where nobody really knows any of the songs, but they just go to
There's that too. Brandon, do you have this? You're really in deep thought.
I'm really thinking about this because I, have made a career of music. But I'll take the one-hit wonder in the cash grab. Yeah.
Fair enough.
What about you, Rach?
Yeah. what
No,
about
I
you?
would want to be a long timer.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, if you love it, stick with it. I mean,
What's the
that's,
threshold though? Are we talking like $1 million or
don't
like
know. See,
20?
this
What
is
do you
where
say
you-
like
you-
cash out? You mean
Matt?
like 25,
Big
Matt?
cash out. One hit wonder, big cash
seven
out.
figures?
Yeah.
Okay.
oh, it
Yeah,
has
yeah.
to be 7. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. This isn't like somebody walked up and offered you $100 for your CD.
Sold.
No. Yeah.
daycare is tough.
So we're talking like record sales, and then you talk about like licensing and back end royalties and all that kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So that's the
One hit wonder.
One hit.
All
Cool.
right.
Got it.
And you?
Done.
Oh, I'd be a one hit wonder, no doubt.
wow,
I would
let's-
be off on an island somewhere.
Love
Listen, it was
Yeah.
great chatting with you guys, but I want to find out what James Santelli says. So we'll find out next.
Thank
You
you.
guys, thanks for joining us. We had a
Thanks
great
for having
time.
me.
We'll bring you back up, Matt, for your song. But for now, we're going to transition over to our friend James Santelli. We were talking about James was with us. We skipped. He's with us quarterly, but we skipped. What would it have been? Spring, because we changed venues on him, and he was like, "Guys, I'm not traveling that far." And where were
I'm
we?
a prima donna.
He's like,
can't-
my driver doesn't take me that
This
far.
is not the plan. Well, I don't have my own car, so I'm kind of at the whim of
That's right.
borrowing either my mom's car or my sister's car.
Yeah.
Just couldn't make it down
Sure,
to the
we
county
understand.
airport.
No,
we
we're
love,
good.
We love hanging out with you, so we'll take you anytime. And we were pleasantly surprised to see that Tracy had connected with you and you would be here. And just like Matt, we don't have you in crazy situations. Of course, the first one was the Moonshot Museum, which was a great time.
That was wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was right before they opened. So
Yes.
it was like the last
Yeah,
couple of
right.
weeks, there was still, like stick up on the walls.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
tape, and
Yes.
Yeah.
They were getting ready.
Yeah. So, and you've done fireplace tours. So, you're certainly no stranger to the podcast. But as I introduced you to Brandon, if you could let everybody know, what is RAD and why is it so important? Because there's so much going on with RAD right now.
Always. RAD is the Allegheny Regional Asset District. So if you're in Allegheny County and you're paying a 7% sales tax, you got the 1% that's just for Allegheny County, and half of that is RAD. And our RAD board is in charge of where that money goes. The majority of it is going to public libraries and public parks, and that's all throughout the county. So the county parks, your local libraries, and then the other third is all sorts of different things. Arts and culture organizations, museums, which we'll be talking about today. You've got the stadiums and convention center, and a whole lot that goes all around Allegheny County and helps bring up our quality of life.
So I think it's interesting that you bring up the stadiums, stadii,
Yeah.
and but the idea would be is that that's the high extreme, like large extreme, not high like dollar value, but high extreme as far as
the $200 million stadium, the
Yeah.
70,000 seat.
What's sort of like the micro thing that we could compare that to the
Oh, that's
other
a
side
good
of
question.
the
I
spectrum?
don't know that we ever did that.
Well, on the exact flip side, we have grants that are as small as $1,000, $2,000 for small, performing arts groups. I think of Pittsburgh Concert Chorale, that they were at the Frick a couple of weeks ago doing
Yeah.
an 80s kind of concert chorale night, or North Pittsburgh Symphonic Band, or we have smaller brass bands and orchestras. And the way we think about it is if we have these performing arts groups all over the county covering all parts, that kind of forms a regional asset in and of itself. We know that there's going to be music and performing arts for everybody, no matter where you are in Allegheny County. So it creates that ability to say, yes, we have the symphony downtown. Yes, we have the ballet and the opera. But we also have these, smaller arts groups and smaller performing groups that provide their own, vitality to their own area.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, we were asking you, like, what stage are you in? So the deadline is up, right? So people have applied. Go
For
ahead.
funding for 2024.
For 24,
yes.
crazy.
And so we've gotten all of those applications in.
Were there a lot? Like, was there an increase?
Oh, yes. We have more than 100 organizations applying for funding this year. And you can look on our website, radworkshere.org, and see the organizations we're currently funding for 2023. But we expect there will be a few more coming to next year. So our staff, our wonderful staff of program officers, is reviewing that, looking at finances, looking at what they do with RAD funding, and saying to the board, all right, here are our recommendations for this year, and that will be coming up in the next few weeks. If you're really into going to board meetings and public hearings,
boy.
you can look at our website and see the schedule for that. But the important thing is that we do our due diligence and make sure that taxpayer money is going to places that are really making an impact.
Yeah.
So it's too late to apply now, but if I'm a small business, I've got files all over my desk. I've got things on my computer.
Sure.
If I have to gather up my items, and it may take me 5 months to do that, right?
Certainly.
What should I be gathering? First of all, 501c3 nonprofit status, right?
Yes, you have to be either a governmental entity or 501c3 nonprofit, and we have a whole laundry list of eligibility requirements on our website.
Oh, okay.
But the biggest thing is to review those and make sure that you are an organization that can kind of match up to the things that we already fund. If you can look on our site and see, what we do, or, if you're out there in the community, an organization that does something similar, get in touch and see what do we need to put together, be it what's called data arts, which is all about arts and culture funding and, how it has impacts in the community, or if it's your taxes, your every, financial documents that you need to put together. Because you're exactly right. A lot of these smaller organizations, they may only have 2 or 3 people on staff, if that.
Sure. Yeah.
They're wearing a lot of hats, and we understand that. And our program officers that are part of reviewing this, they're very helpful to be able to point you in the right direction of what you would need.
One more question. I'm sorry, Rachel. I'm sorry. One more question to follow up on that, though, is do I need to be able to show that I have sustainability, because we just went through this with one of our organizations. They had to prove that they could sustain, if they got a loan of this amount of money or a grant of this amount of money, they had to show that they have more money there to help keep that going forward. Is that, part of it as well? Like, I need to show my financials that, look, I have $10 in the bank, but I'm asking you for 50 grand, that kind of thing, right?
Right. Great question. The short answer is
a good
yes.
question. Yeah.
And the longer answer is that's all part of what we're reviewing. We're looking to see, do you have a lot of individual donors that will help keep up and sustain you? Do you have charities and other philanthropic organizations that are keeping up your funding? What's your plan for your building and for your overhead? Do you own your own space or do you lease it out? When we're making investments in organizations, we're looking at all of that, and we're not throwing taxpayer money out of places that are just not going to be operating in a year or two. We want to be mindful that this is important money and that it is going to have the most impact by going to all these organizations that we fund.
This is sort of a blanket question, and that was a good question. I'll let you get away with that.
It's 2-0 right now. Just so you know, it's 2-0.
What is so fulfilling? It's not 2-0. What is so fulfilling about your job? What makes it so? Is it looking at, the facts that you were giving us before you came on about something like Taylor Swift coming into town? Or is it seeing that you're now up to 100 different organizations, entities, or is it everything?
Well, it might be cliche, but it really is seeing the people and seeing the reactions to the different places that we fund. I'll talk about this week, which is we just opened up the August 3 for free, free admission for 3 different museums, the Warhol, the Children's Museum of Pittsburgh, and the Heinz History Center. And so on day 1, August 1st, I went over to the Heinz History Center. I was talking with an old friend from KDKA over there, and we saw people lining up. And I don't know what you would normally think of as somebody who's interested in going to see a history museum, but you might think like older folks going in and checking it out. No, it was everybody. It was entire families of people, young and old, diverse groups of people coming in and getting the opportunity to see what Pittsburgh has to offer. And I think that is probably the most fulfilling part of it, is that everything that we put RAD funding towards has its own ability to affect people's lives, be it through the arts or through the museums or just going to a baseball game or going to a football game or a Taylor Swift concert. Like, we at RAD get to fund the cool, fun, enjoyable, and fulfilling things that make Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. And so being able to see that in people, in everyday people that are going and checking this out.
And we joke, that we said this to him before he came on, but we procrastinate because we live here. So
Certainly.
It's easy to say, like, even us with Allentown, right? We haven't been up here we haven't had need to come here. So we're thrilled that we do see that it is an area that's thriving with businesses like this. Same thing with you. Like, it has to be so great to see that it's August 5th and day 1, you already saw that people are coming out to, the opportunity to a free museum.
Yeah. And this gives you an excuse.
Yes.
This gives you
Stop procrastinating, right?
Yeah.
You only have until August 31st.
Yeah.
And by the same token, it also gives you a moment to step back and appreciate what we have in Pittsburgh, because part of the reason it's these 3 museums is that they were all voted by readers of USA Today 10 Best as one of the 10 best museums in their category, be it art museum, children's museum, or history museum. Pittsburgh was the only city to have 3 in the
Crazy.
top 5.
How about that?
When you just step back and have some perspective on all the museums that they have in New York or Chicago or LA or Miami, Pittsburgh was the only one with 3 in the top 5. We have the kinds of things that you have in the bigger cities, but we have them here. And sometimes you don't really properly appreciate that until you get this sort of opportunity.
What's up?
That's exactly right.
What's up there, everybody else? Pittsburgh
Throwing
rocks
down the gauntlet.
right. No, and I think the other thing is that. Oh wait, I just lost my train of thought here. I was just thinking as far as help me out here.
Families, perhaps.
No, fill in for me until I get it back.
Fill in for me. So I don't know if we're still the most livable city, but in my mind we are, being a Pittsburgher, right?
Sure.
And when you look at things like that and you say, okay, we were known for this Steeler Town, or we were known for Primanti's. Now we're this foodie town. It has to be fulfilling that rad is even a thing, because we didn't talk about it before.
Right.
And we talked about just like, oh, we're cultural, but we weren't able to show it. Now I feel like there's the right minds, the right people in place, and you're helping to kind of shed light on that.
I appreciate that. And the other way I think about it is we talk a lot about the arts and culture that we have kind of being a vestige of when we had Andrew Carnegie money,
Sure,
or Frick money, or Benedum money back in the day. And no doubt they left some amazing places, the libraries and theaters,
Sure,
and all these wonderful institutions that we have. But if it weren't for sustained investment from corporations, from philanthropic organizations, from people, and from places like RAD, they wouldn't be around today.
Yeah.
We wouldn't see the Benedum Center, getting upgrades like they are right now, or
Yeah.
see these museums thrive. One of the things about the 3 museums that are having the free admission all month is they're all places that are adaptive reuse. The Heinz History
good
Center
point.
was an
Yeah,
old
right.
ice warehouse. The warehouse on the north side became the Andy Warhol Museum. The former Carnegie Library in Allegheny City, which is what the north side was at the time, became the museum lab. And
Wasn't
the
the
post
museum
office became
post
Children's
office? Yeah,
Museum.
right, exactly.
So
Yep.
all of these old places that are a part of Pittsburgh, what we think of as Pittsburgh's heyday, back in the early days when it was it was the center of the world. It was where all the steel was made, where a lot of the rich guys lived. That still exists, but only because we have made a deliberate work and attempts to make sure that these places are still around and still thriving.
And I think places like that are helping these smaller places, like, as I mentioned, the Randyland or the Bicycle Museum, or things like that, that they're saying like, wait a minute, there's a need for this. So there's got to be one for this, because we have this space, we have the area, and in Pittsburgh, let's face it, when Pittsburgh loves you, we embrace you.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, 100%. And we're seeing it through like parks and trails,
Sure.
and seeing the connections that way. We wouldn't think of, 25 years ago, Pittsburgh is like a trail city.
Right.
But between, the riverfront trails all
Yep.
around, the Great Allegheny Passage, these are not only things that RAD funds, but also places where connections are made between communities, and offering up the ability for people to get out any day of the year and enjoy what we have to offer. So it's always changing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very interesting over the next 10 to 20 years. What's going to be next? What are people going to want out of the place where they either want to move to, or if they own a business, where they want to move their business to? And we think it's all about having the kind of place where people want to live, people want to work, people want to raise a family. And it's all the sorts of things that we hope that we are putting the investments in the right areas to do that.
I thank you for filling for me.
I mean, I couldn't talk
I think
anymore.
I did ask this question
you
before.
all right, James? I'm
but
tired.
I love the fact, to me, everybody complains about politicians waste my tax money. We never really see where tax money goes.
Sure.
But this is the perfect example of where tax money goes. Like you can see, we all complained when we had to pay that extra money. Sure. But now you guys show us where it's going to. And I love that.
And I appreciate that. And I can tell you that one of my jobs as communications guy is I'm updating the numbers every month of seeing, all right, where is the money going out to? It's all transparent. It's all out there for people to be able to go to radworkshere.org and see how much tax money is being brought in, where it's going out to.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times nobody wants to spend their days like looking at municipal budgets to see, what's going out to. But it is kind of cool to see, at least on our page, like, oh, I love going to the Frick and they get this amount, or I love going to the Carnegie Science Center and the museums get this amount. It is, interesting enough. And if I would say to people, if you have, an organization that you're an advocate for that's on that page of regional assets, please let us know. Please, send us a letter or an email, or give us a voicemail even, to say, I love this place because I take my family here, or my grandma loves going here. We want to know these things.
Yeah.
We talk about the big things like your finances or getting all your papers in order, but it is about the true impact that it has on people. We love hearing those kinds of stories. So please don't be shy. Let us know.
You told us a bunch of times. One more time, though. What is the website for RAD? You're so good at throwing that in there. I'm like, it's Rachel from yajagoff.com. No, I never do that. So go ahead.
It is radworkshere.org. On social media, we're radworkshere. On Instagram, on X, Twitter,
Whatever the heck you are.
and
Yeah.
the Allegheny Regional Asset District on Facebook. And we also encourage you to head to radworkshere.org. We have a little sign-up button for our email newsletter. If you want to be the first to find out about Rad Day's schedule, which is coming up here in just a few weeks. Yes.
Yeah. Are you gonna tease any? Like, do we get any like nugget of info?
Here's one thing I want to make sure people know. If you don't own a pair of ice skates for your own, make sure you've got some ice skates.
Okay.
See if they're in a thrift store or somewhere else, because there might be an opportunity for you to take the ice at PPG Paints Arena.
We
go
got a
on
little
family
more.
skate.
Should we ask another
Sounds
question?
like a good podcast, right?
I know, right?
So
Yeah.
that will be
That's great.
the tease. And yes, but please go to radworkshere.org. The schedule will be up there, and if you sign up for the email newsletter, you'll be the first to know.
We love it. All right, question of the day. Are you going to be the one-hit wonder and snag that cat? You are?
No. Oh no, I was just.
Oh, you were
I was
nodding.
nodding.
I
I was
just want
nodding
somebody.
in like recognition that,
Okay,
that
okay.
this was going to be.
Or are you
Okay.
going to pick me? And you would like to have some longevity.
We could talk about this for a while because I have a lot of different thoughts on
Okay.
this. I will say longevity. However, the one-hit wonder does seem
Oh.
just very enticing.
Enticing.
But I've seen enough that there will be interviews, videos. I don't know if you guys have seen this, where they'll talk to Sarah Bareilles or like other one-hit wonders, and there's always a sense of, gosh, I wish that there could have been a second one, that
Right.
it could have captured that lightning in the bottle.
Right.
And it always seems like they have just that longing for something more sustained. And I don't want that. Money is great to be able to live in, just be hanging out on your hammock and just not worry.
On your yacht, listening to yacht rock.
right.
That all sounds great, but I'm sure for a lot of those one-hit wonder folks, there's just like, gosh, I wish I could get
Well,
back.
you know what's
I
funny is
agree.
there's
Yeah.
a song that my sister used to listen to. It was a teeny bopper song. Nothing's gonna change my love for you. I can't remember the singer's name, but every girl swooned over that guy, that young
who he
guy with his
is.
dark hair.
Yeah.
And I googled
Is
that
it you?
guy. And he looks a lot worse than me today. And he's like a school teacher, which is fantastic that he's a school teacher.
good,
But the
yeah.
fact is that I think he, as I read through an article, he sort of lamented that, like, wow, I could have, but
Yeah,
he's
insert
happy. Yeah.
there.
Or I think of That Thing You Do, the movie
I love
from
that. Tom
the
Hanks,
90s,
yeah.
the Wonders, and they get their one-hit wonder, and it
that
just
thing you do. Go ahead.
amazing. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about this for a second. The fact that somebody had to go and write what would be a one-hit wonder. And
Yes.
you have to play it 20 times in the movie, and it was. It was.
Yes.
It was.
Do you
it
know
was
the
an
movie?
earworm.
Of
It
course
was a
you
hit.
don't. You don't know the movie. No. John doesn't watch any movies. He's never even. You guys, he's never seen The Godfather. Like, I don't want to drop that bomb on you guys, but it's a true story.
Western PA connections, man. That thing you
John,
do. They
it
were from
is.
Erie, PA,
Yeah.
came down to Pittsburgh. But yeah, you think about the fact that, oh gosh, they wanted to have that sustained success.
Yeah.
They wanted to be seen for more than
For
just
sure.
the one hit. So
I'm
that's
with
where I
you.
would
See,
fall.
finally, I knew there would be somebody.
Glenn
Always
Medeiros is the guy's
Oh.
name.
Oh my God.
Glenn Medeiros.
And he looks incredibly
he's
handsome
he's
right
a
there, yeah.
Rock
total
me, Glenn
teeny bopper
Medeiros.
dude, but he isn't anymore, was he?
Well, nothing's gonna change my love for you guys.
Thank you. That was so good. You did that perfectly,
All right.
James. Always a pleasure. Can't wait for next quarter. We can chat more.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to bring Matt up to play us out. You're going to do one more song, and we're really excited. This was a great podcast. It's nice to be kind of up close and personal.
Yeah.
Whenever we had one other guest who wasn't able to come, so we're going to have to get him on another time. But we just want to say our thank yous. Obviously, thank you to the Little Giant Studio. We certainly wanted to be here and just really explore Allentown and how great it's gotten. Thanks to Matt Cause, who actually introduced us to Brandon here at Little Giant Recording and Rehearsal Studio. And thanks, obviously, to James Santelli. We always love having him on because we get to learn more about RAD.
Yeah. And of course, thanks to Rorick Honda. Make sure you get the best experience of customer service and maintenance of your Rorick Advantage at the Service Center on West Liberty Avenue.
Visit RorickHonda.com for all of your vehicle needs. And make sure you are checking out the Warhol, the Heinz History Center, and the Children's Museum now until August the 31st. So important that you go and really just support our own arts, our museums. And really, it's just some good family time. So
Dude, it's free.
it's free, you
Free.
jagoff.
Right. All right, Matt. We good? What song is this?
It's called Madeline.
All right.
Yeah, we knew
Cool.
he said
All
that.
right.
Ready?
We're ready.
Sunny night in the summer, wind was blowing through the trees. Breeze was like a whisper, whirling all around me in a sea rise, fluttering in firelight on a starry night where it's just you and me tonight. Sun came up, I saw you sleeping on the side of my bed. Summer sweat was dripping. I put my hand behind your head and I asked my dear, how'd you sleep last night? Morning sun, it's just you and me tonight. Madeline, my lover, Madeline, my friend. Days like these, remember that you were alone. We're laughing, with you dancing to the end. Tuesday night of November, you can smell the falling leaves. Air's a little crisper. What you make is what you believe. Any words, my dear, they bring me to my knees. Gorgeous smile, it hits me like that autumn breeze. Madeline, my lover, Madeline, my friend. Days like these, remember that you were alone. We're laughing, we're dancing at the end. Love dancing fairies with bigger eyes than me. Surging in the moonlight, but their souls to be free. Snowbirds are whistling as far as you can see. Surging in the moonlight, but their souls to be free. Means everything, girl, means everything to me.
That's it. That's the Yajagoff podcast for this week. Thank you so much and have a